Alright guys, there's been a few people asking us to do some sort of tutorial on ElvUI, TukUI, any UI add-ons that can help, so I'm going to do an ElvUI video. To start off, what I always say is to back up your interface folder in your PC for your World of Warcraft file. That can be found somewhere around here, so C, program files, x86 if you're 64-bit, or just program files. If you don't see x86, it'll be just program files. Then World of Warcraft. Mine's gone into a separate folder. I don't know why. So you might have another World of Warcraft folder in there. And then there's this folder called interface. So all we do is make a copy, put it somewhere where you know it's going to be. I'm popping it into my documents for now. Make sure you copy and you don't cut, because if you cut, it's gone. So what you want to do is, now that you've done that, you can close that down. You want to go to the TukUI website, and on the TukUI website you will need to create a login. I've already logged in. The reason that you need to create a login is so that you can download the client. So the best way to do the client is go to client. Once you've logged in, go to client across the top, go to Windows, unless you are on a Mac, and it gives you a little screenshot of what it looks like here. And you just download that there. Once it's done, which it doesn't take long, run the installer, ignore WinRAR, and let that install. It's going to come up with an admin prompt. I'm just looking for that now. There it is. You just accept the admin prompt. It goes black on my screen. So it's already done. It's finished. Finish that there. And then you open TukUI. I would always advise to choose to run it as administrator. So I'll show you something very quickly. I'll just move my taskbar over. I'll hide the webcam and the overlay. On the start menu, where you've got TukUI showing, right click, more, run as administrator. Unless it's in this list down here. If it might be in this list down here, so you have to go find it. Same sort of thing though. Where has it gone? TukUI client, right click, more, run as administrator. That means it's running with full rights over your PC, which means it doesn't need any special permissions to install TukUI. Move that back over. Alright, so what we want to do, now that you've got this installed, well, once you've got it installed, it'll ask you to log in, and it'll ask you where your game is when you go first log in. So in this case, you go, as long as you've got it installed on your PC as normal, in the default directory, you go to this PC, C drive, program files, World of Warcraft, and choose the World of Warcraft folder, and then you want to choose the retail folder that's in World of Warcraft. So when the retail folder is in there, that's the one that you want to point it towards. Then you essentially get this list. Once you've got this list, you choose Browse. We choose, in this case, ElvUI, but ElvUI is, in fact, ignore me, no you don't. You've got the two options across the top here, install ElvUI and install TukUI. So these are the base for both. If you choose to install ElvUI, which is the one that I use, you might be able to use the add-ons that I use as well. If you install TukUI, it's slightly different, but it's got the same kind of base. So install ElvUI, it only takes a moment or so. Give that a second. While we're in there, these are kind of add-ons for ElvUI and TukUI, everything that's in here. You kind of want to just be careful that you don't, if you install ElvUI, that you don't install something for TukUI and vice versa, because it just won't work. You can see, I'll just minimize this for now and close that down. On the forum and add-ons, you've got add-ons, ElvUI, you've got Browse for more, and it will show you the ones that are like top downloaded, things like that. The one that I use is this one, BenikUI, which works with ElvUI only. Once when it works with, because it only works with ElvUI, it won't work with TukUI. So once that is finished downloading, which it looks like it has here, and it's up to date, and we're going to look in Browse for BenikUI, which it automatically pops up, so we choose to install that one. Now this is already going to have all my profiles and stuff saved because I've used it before. We don't want to kind of overlap it or anything. So this essentially replaces the entirety of your old WoW interface. It just gets rid of the folders, puts this brand new one in, and then gets you started. So without further ado, just quickly open up Battle.net, and then we'll launch up WoW. Okay. One thing to mention while we wait for this to load is, now that you've installed it, ElvUI and BenikUI will appear in the Twitch add-ons client if you use it. If you use a Twitch add-ons client, I would only update it through the ElvUI client. It does pop up in here, but I've seen things go wrong when you update it from here. So I wouldn't necessarily say use anything from here. It's just there to saying it's picked up the add-on. Only do the updates from the ElvUI client. So make sure you check. If you've, I'll tell you what things that I notice is that you'll start getting error messages and things might not show quite right. If they're not showing quite right, or you're getting error messages, open up the TukUI client, check if it says out of date here. If it does, click update, and it'll update for you. Chances are, if you install extra add-ons for it as well, the main add-on, if the main add-on is out of date, the rest of them will be as well, so you'll need to take some time to do the rest of them. But that shouldn't reset anything for you either. So let's log in, and we'll show you how simple it can be. Now it's not going to do the first introductory thing for me, but I can get it to that step. It's fairly straightforward. I'll just open up the settings menu. Once it's loaded. So, as you can see, this is my UI. I'll just quickly hide the WoW overlay and the webcam so you can see what the chat looks like. So you've got your chat here. I've got it so that it sets whispers that pops up. That's something that's in WoW anyway. You've got your spells at the bottom, some extra spells at the bottom. This is actually quite useful now that there's a lot less spells in the game, simply because after all the spell pruning, they kind of put in, well, you've still got all these action bars that you won't actually use anymore. Then I use SCADA for DPS meters over here. So this is a DPS meter and this is the healer meter. I've chosen to put my logs up there, and this is my health, target, and set focus. So what I'll do is we'll get it back to the very beginning. We'll go to ElvUI and we'll go to install. When you go to install, this is the first thing that you'll see when you first kind of log into any character. In fact, the best way for me to show you this is to log on to a new character, because then it doesn't matter if I mess it up. Let's choose Thunderpaws. So, first time logging in, just skip the cinematic. And this is what it looks like. You might get a little error in the background and whatnot. You get the option to skip the process if you want to do it from scratch. I generally continue. You set up CVARs, and the CVARs is essentially, it's making sure that everything behaves properly within the add-on. You set up your chat. So if you watch where the chat logs are now, you can choose set up chat. So it's got general and log, and it automatically puts loot and trade over this side. If you prefer to have something else over this side, don't worry. Well, as you go through it, you can chop and change things, how things go. So from there, we want to press next. You get the option for classic. This is just colors, dark, and class. The only thing that you really notice change is like the secondary colors. So it's entirely up to you. So you're on high resolution, low resolution. So high resolution is if you're on, like, say, a 1080p screen. If you're on anything less than that, then you would choose low resolution, and it'll make things a little bit smaller and fit to scale a little bit more rather than taking up most of your screen. This is the good part. So you choose your role. again, this happens every time you log into a character. So you choose your role on the character: tank, healer, physical DPS, or caster DPS. Now, say for example, on my monk, I am mainly a tank, but then I switch to physical DPS. So because I switched to physical DPS, it actually changes things. So if you see these UI things that you've got over like the training targets, these are yellow because they're neutral mobs. If they're red, if they were hostile and they ran towards me, they would turn green on the tank add-on. Reason being is because I've got aggro on them. If I choose physical DPS, they would stay red because I've got aggro on them. So green is kind of like, this is a good thing, you've got aggro on this. Red is kind of like, it's a bad thing, you've got aggro on this. Yellow means if you're say if you're tanking and it turns yellow, it tends to mean that a pet has taunted it. If it's purple, it means another tank has got it taunted. And that's about it. I've never really used the healer one, so because I'm not a healer, as you guys know, but it kind of sets up for each one. So I'm just going to choose physical DPS in this case. So it just gets things layout set ready, so it would be ready for it. You also get like a little nice, nifty little system admin thing at the top, telling you how many frames you got, how much world MS you've got, and if you put over the cursor, you can see how much home MS, your gear durability, how much is in your bags, and the volume of the game. But I play with my sound muted because I'm a scrub, as Phil would say. Anyway, you want to choose icons only. So select the type of aura you want to use within ElvUI's unit frame. Set the aura bar and icons to use both auras and icons. To be honest, again, this isn't something that I use much, so I just choose auras and icons. I'd probably notice the difference if I chose icons only. And press next. And then it says, do you want to join Discord or finish? So I'll click finish. It does a quick reload UI. I say quick, but it takes its time. And then it comes up with the second one. This time it's for BenikUI. So BenikUI is kind of like a complete overhaul of TukUI. So I'm going to press continue on this because I want to set it up. So BenikUI it's going to set up the layout first. So classic, and to see how everything changed straight away there. Or you can choose V3, and that's how they've updated it. Not much changes between classic and V3. Then you press continue. And we want to choose, okay, so which one do you want to color? ElvUI, Diablo, Mists, Hearthstone. I'm just going to choose ElvUI. Again, set up chat function. Again, so chat, all of a sudden, everything goes over to this side over here. You can see that. It does move your loot table and trade chat into another window. So if you're wondering where that disappears to, you can turn that off. Press next. Now this is the part where you'll start noticing the main differences. So we want to choose unit frames. So unit frames is your health bars, your target's health bars, and all that sort of thing. So we choose unit frames 1, unit frames 2, unit frames 3. Quite a bit of difference in each one. Some people prefer the simplistic look, some people prefer the picture there, and I have it as unit frames 1. And we choose continue. And this is where it chooses the action bars, so it changes these along the bottom here for you and this along the side. I'm going to choose action bars 1. That's where you see it's kind of bugged out a little bit, but if you scroll through them, there we go, that's just the one I set up with, is action bars 2. Then you get action bars 3, which only shows you a single action bar and then anything extra that you needed. Again, for some reason it seems to be bugged out. I've got a Lua error in the background. It looks like Garrison UI Lua error, so I'm not sure what's causing this problem. It might just need an update, but there's no updates available at the moment, so I'm just going to stick with action bar 2. Oh, almost forgot. Action bars 3. Let's close that out. Gives you your action bars kind of in the center, and then this is like your less important spells. So I'm going to just choose action bars 2. And they seem to be sticking around at the top, so I'm just going to do a quick reload. I'll continue, and then let's choose action bars 1, then 2, and then 3. So it doesn't really matter which way that you have them. If it does bug out like this, like I say, it will do a reload UI at the end of it. So I'm going to go to action bars 2 again. Continue. Set it up for physical DPS. Just sticking with some consistency there. And then just press set up add-ons. So it just kind of adjusts the rest of your add-ons. So it's moving, on my window, it moves SCADA. So I want to unlock the SCADA windows. Where's the unlock button? bigger, lock window, there it is. So we move that one and set that to healing, and we do that one, lock window, and set that to damage. So that's fine. You can edit these settings, but this is mainly just a TukUI, BenikUI and ElvUI tutorial. And then we press continue. Again, it gives you a link to the Discord, and then you press finish. When you click finish, reloads the UI, just from chopping and changing everything. And that's it. If you then find that you want to change the way things look, you can go into escape, or your game menu, press ElvUI, and toggle anchors. So this looks like a lot of stuff. It is, but if you look at each one, it's kind of self-explanatory. So the BattleNet, for example, BattleNet frame is where you would see your BattleNet friends log in. You've got player buffs, so this is your buffs, this is your debuffs, your player frame, the target frame, focus bar, focus cast bar. So if you're focused, the person that you're focusing is casting something, it will show it here. Pet frame, pet cast bar, targeted target frame. So if you target something, say I target this person, whoever they're targeting will then be in this frame here. So it kind of shows you who it's showing. You get a zone ability button, so that's like your extra action bar, and then you get a boss button, so something that you need to do if you've got a button, a certain mechanic that you need to do in a boss. And you've got a class bar, so class bars like your chi on a monk, your stance bar on a druid, that sort of thing. Experience bar, bar 1, bar 2, datas, bar 5, bar 3, bar 4 is over here, hides away, and boss frame. So when you get the UI down the right hand side, and it shows like add-ons of different bosses, things like that. Like say you've got 3 bosses in one fight, it will show the health bars of all 3 bosses down the right hand side here. Likewise with arenas, it will show you everybody's health here. You've got your talking head frame, so that thing that pops up during dungeons and quests, you can move that wherever you want. I think you can also disable it somewhere. I've not done that myself though. I'm just going to move that in here where it normally is. So request start button is request stop on a flight master. You've got main tank frames, and you've got your raid frames here. Your bank goes here, and then so where it says grow up, you press, say on bag here, if I press B for bags, it goes upwards from this tile. I can't change that. I can do it so like it's bag and then grow down, so I can move this all the way up, and then the bag opens up downwards from it. The loss of control icon, so this is say you get CC'd in PvP or in a raid or in a dungeon or something, it'll tell you here. GM ticket frame, vehicle seat frame I like to have down here. Class totems, so for example shamans, if you've got a totem up, it'll have it here. If you're a monk and it's like Zuin, gift of the tiger, that sort of thing, they will appear here. And your party frames are here. Your loot frame, I tend to have that somewhere around here. System, again, I'll pop that down there. And you've got your voice overlay. This is mostly if we use voice overlay, which we don't. And you can choose your minimap. You've got your honor bar next to your minimap. You've got your reputation bar next to your right chat channel. And you've got your Azerite tracking on your left side. Again, you can move anything around that you want. Likewise, if I choose, I say okay, I don't want to see my target's buffs, so I'll go to unit frames, choose target frame, debuffs, enable, buffs, enable. Now if debuffs are enabled, you'll be able to see pretty much everything that's cast on it, so say warlock dots, shadow priest dots, that sort of thing. So you can disable that if it's taking up too much of your screen. By default, I think it's set just to you, so you can have it set to raid debuffs, so you can see everybody's. Your personal debuffs, so it's only yours. CCs, so I need to only show CCs first, and dispellable ones. Then you've got your player frames, which is a similar sort of thing, and buffs. You can see that you've got a lot of options here. I'm not going to go into all of them, but it gives you general, like each thing seems to be self-explanatory. You can change the size of the health numbers, that sort of thing. Boss frames, everything. So it's fairly, once you've got it set up, I generally just use like the base end. I don't mess around with it a bit like too much at all. But that should kind of give you a general idea of what goes on with ElvUI, with BenikUI installed. Again, you've got so many options down the left hand side here. You don't have to use them all. I don't. I only choose to change certain things when I find it's important. And you can turn, this is where you can turn things off. So if I want, let's go data bars, honor bar. I want honor bars kind of overlapping my minimap icons here, so I want to turn that off. There you go, done. That easy. But that's about it.